Hi, everyone. Welcome back to A Tribe Called Dhillon podcast. I'm Angie Dhillon.
And I'm Rose Dhillon.
And I'm Alvin Dhillon.
Hope you had a great week. Win of the week, Al. Your win.
Funny, right? Every time, right?
Yeah. I know what he's ruminating. Oh, I can't say the Renos. Okay, I'm going to come back to Al. Over to you, Rose.
Okay.
And Al, your microphone has gone orange, by the way.
Okay, so guys, I'm sure for the returning viewers, you are familiar that our very friend Casey Coles came on to talk about everything Hollywood. Well, guess what Mr. Coles did? He went and made some music, and I'm not lying to you, but the song that he sent me, it's called Broke. What's it called again?
Block Me Out.
Block Me Out. It's pretty catchy, so I'm gonna play it for everybody to see if you guys like it. You ready for this? Cool, right?
Yeah, good song.
Yeah, it's catchy. And I feel like he said block me out, but he should also sing like, why you want to ghost me? Why did you ghost me? Because that seems to be the trend, right?
Yeah, I will put the link on the song too. It's a really catchy song if you want to catch it on Spotify.
Yeah, shout out Casey Collins.
Yeah,
well done. That's a catchy song, and good for you. And that's why we bring people on because where it's all exchange of stories and talent, and he's very talented. And like I said in the episode, like let's get him to collaborate. We've got some folks that are going to be coming on the new year. We had Juggy on the show, like cross collaborate with different cultures and fusions of music, right? So well done. Today it is, we're closing out 2024. A lot of stuff happened this year, yo.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff happened this year. Some good, some bad, and a lot of ugly.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I feel, we are in a position with our platform to talk about some of these issues and to raise awareness on things. And the big issue this year, and we're just going to get it right there and address the elephant, is the whole Diddy situation. I'm not sure if you got a chance to listen to our episode earlier this year in February. The three of us actually dropped an episode which was called Not in My City. It was actually all about human trafficking and how we can raise awareness and get the community involved and everybody just to be more vigilant. Little did we know at that time when we spoke about that issue. We know it was controversial. I think we got flagged on YouTube for that. Even on IG, they flagged it because people don't want you to know what you should know. And I found that quite interesting.
This will get flagged too.
Yeah, this will probably get flagged too. But I didn't know that in our own backyard, which is like, America, literally our own backyard because it's south.
It's
we're
my
in Canada
yard.
and it's your yard. You live there. That this kind of stuff was going on and is going on and that this is a whole network. So we're going to touch on some of the things that happened in 2024 that made headlines. We're not TMZ by any means. We're not CNN. We're not journalists and reporters, but we just felt it was still our obligation to talk about some stuff and what the lessons are, right? Like we're all about learning from these kinds of things. And we also don't want to laugh at anybody's pain. No. This kind of stuff is serious because as much as everyone is now yelling at Diddy and talking about him, there are a lot of people that are victims in this whole situation. And it's really, really sad. I'm really troubled by all this because what we know about Hollywood is no longer what we know. The relationships with celebrities and I don't even know if we should even be calling them celebrities anymore.
Well, and I don't know if we should call it Hollywood or if you just rename it to Holly Weird now because it's starting to get really
Holly Weirdos.
Weird. I think what's happening with technology is that all those stories that you used to hear about are coming true because now you're getting footage. I think if there wasn't that video footage leaked of Diddy, people would still, the stories are bad, but it's hard to see him be that crazy person. But then when you see him kicking a girl on the ground and doing that crazy stuff, then you're like, okay, he is capable of that. Yeah, I think that just puts that thing to he's capable of doing it. Because before that, it'd be it's Diddy. How would he? He's obviously there's a network of people he's being framed. But when you see that video, you're like, oh man, he's definitely not the big leader. I think he's just one of the people that's going to be taking the big heat for all of this, because there's a network of people at this party that want to do all this stuff. It's not one or two people that are saying, I want to do all this kind of stuff. There's a whole group of people that are into this kind of thing.
Right. So Diddy is one of the topics that we're going to talk about. We also have Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck broke up. That was another controversial thing. I think that was husband number maybe 4.
And I think that was controversial because the New Year, she dropped the whole album, the video, the movie, and the documentary.
I really found it controversial because of how much she
worships her
and was making it be like, this is her comeback. Look at what happened.
So
you can find love again at like 49. You can do whatever you want. All these things. And then it just like so fast within like 6 to 8 weeks, it just started crumbling after.
That was fast.
And that's when I was like, okay,
and
I'm pretty much not going to listen to anything you say anymore.
Well, and I think it was a valuable lesson for me because I supported her because I think she was, like I said before on Selena, ethnic woman, minority going to Hollywood and trying to climb the corporate ladder. I've come to realize that obviously there's things you got to do to get to where you want to go. And would I personally do it? No, that's just my moral compass is a little different aligned. And I'm starting to learn that maybe hers is not aligned with mine. So my step back from her is very real because I'm learning that you got to learn lessons in life. Nobody wants to see the same person make the same mistakes over and over. It starts to feel like, what's wrong with you? And that's where I felt like this was my breaking point for my love affair with Miss Lopez, where I was like, you know what, girl, you are not learning. You need to not portray to the world that you had a therapist and you went and healed the inner child. Show us that you're doing the work. Show me that you're doing the work.
So you did a female breakup with J-Lo.
Pretty much.
Okay. So we're going to make it really tight.
I still like her. I'm not going to lie to you. It was a little hard. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to keep it tight and punchy here. We're going to talk briefly on Diddy. Yep. We're going to talk about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck on what the lessons are there. And the Menendez brothers, they were trending. There's an opportunity. There's a chance. By the time this episode drops out, they may have gotten out because we're taping this the week before U.S. Thanksgiving. So there's a chance that they could get out, or maybe by Christmas. So when this drops. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then also for the first time in history, U.S. had a chance to almost elect a female president.
Minority female president.
So we're going to talk, and I feel like those were the 4 big major things that kind of controlled 2024 this year. So we're going to talk about that. Okay, number 1, let's go to Diddy here. We're going to do a couple quick minutes on what we think about the entire situation, what we think is going to play out and how it's going to play out. Al, go.
My thing is the only reason why I'm even talking about Diddy is because I feel like he has somewhat of an influence of me growing up. That's why I have this connection to hip hop. I grew up in the 2000s and 90s. I feel like hip hop was raising me half the time because you wanted to be cool. You want to listen to what they're doing, what they're saying. So he created so many hits. So you felt like, hey man, like this guy is like a figurehead that you can look up to, be like, wow, he's a staple. And then all these allegations came out, these videos, and I was like, oh shit. It's still hard to digest now. Like so many songs come out and you're like, I feel like I can't even listen to the song anymore because it just reminds you of like how much of a crazy predator this guy is. And you're just like, not cool, man.
Yeah.
Not cool, especially with all the victims and children at play here.
I have a problem.
It's one thing when there's a lot of grown people doing all these and making decisions as they're 21, 22, and they're like, yeah, I want to do these drugs and have these parties, but you're grooming people from like 9, 10 years old to bring them into this lifestyle of this industry. That's what's more sickening, that it's just a human doing it to another human.
Yeah, and then you're kidnapping these young girls.
Yeah.
Right?
And you got to say all this stuff is linked to all this human trafficking because there's got to be a demand for all this supply to keep continuing, for people to go through all these risks, to be feeding children and underage women to these people. There's obviously enough people and enough powerful people at play in this.
Yeah. Rose, what's your take? Diddy?
Yeah, same thing with Al. I was, in the 90s growing up, listened to some of his music. It was catchy. He made hip hop and rap fun for girls because I didn't really like hardcore rap and I really don't like the lyrics when it comes to rap music either. But he made songs fun and
more
catchy, fluffy. You could play them at a club and dance. Like you hear Mo Money, you're like, and so I think he, for me, he had great responsibility, and I think he did not understand the responsibility that he had with that power and the money and the influence he had. And it's really unfortunate that he took it and threw it away essentially, because now he makes R. Kelly look not so bad. And that's pretty sad. So more is to come. I know people are saying don't judge a book by everything you know yet. But to me, the Cassie video was enough to say, if you're capable of doing this, you are capable of doing a lot more. And I know there's a network of team people that are behind this. I think it's a valuable lesson for all of us to understand that stop worshiping celebrities. We are the people who are putting them in these powerful positions by buying the music, liking, subscribing, sharing. It's got to stop with us. If they don't have supporters, they can't do this anymore. So this was really eye-opening for me to stop and say, I will listen to people's music, but if you're an artist that's doing things that doesn't align with my moral compass, I will happily turn your music off.
Yeah, good call. I think my take is there's a bigger network. This is a whole enterprise running this. This is not just Diddy. One person can't be that smart executing this whole thing. We know enough to know that there's other people, other players involved. Time's going to tell, his case is for May 2025. This is getting scary. I'm not going to lie, because this is bigger than Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
He's very valuable. He knows a lot of information. And my only thing is, and this is what's driving me up the wall, is when Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein came out, every single celebrity had something to say. And this is all the celebrity in Hollywood has been radio silent. So to me, that goes to show how much of Hollywood and how many of Hollywood were coming to his events. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm really disappointed. And we'll probably table and talk a little bit more about it next year as more facts and more evidence starts coming into play. But disturbing. That's all I'm going to say. That was just disturbing. And poor Cassie as well.
Yeah.
But at least she got $30 million. She got something.
Well, she's going to have to go to therapy for life.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's get on to Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. They were kind of headlining beginning of the year. Everybody was excited when Jennifer Lopez found love again with Ben, but that quickly kind of unraveled and they broke up and they separated or whatever. I think they've gotten divorced now. What's the lesson there? What do we want to tell J-Lo if she's listening to this?
Yeah, girl, marriage is not the answer to everything. Like, if you didn't work out the first time and it didn't work out the second time, the likelihood, like I would say read and get knowledge. Like people always say to me, are you going to get married again? And I'm like, no, because I understand the stats. If you got divorced the first time, the likelihood of you getting divorced the second time is between 60 to 70%.
Yep.
Third time is 80 to 90. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I am not a statistic. I can totally understand how that is possible. So learn a lesson from these and say, you know what? I don't need marriage to define who I am. And that's where I wish that she would go with that lesson, which is, you know what, guys, I can't get this wrong, this part of my life right, but maybe I'll be a really great mother or a really great storyteller or performer or find someone that I can maybe get old with, but just stop getting married.
Though?
Yeah.
Just like be just together, do the same, everything the same, but nothing just on paper. Why?
I don't get that.
Why can't you just live life like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's going to be the future. It's going to, especially like our old Indian traditions, they're going to start fading away of like, where
100%.
you have to get married before you live together. I say, why don't you live together first? You can get engaged, but you live together first, see how that goes, see what happens after a year.
I think,
and then you decide, why do you have to do through all this crazy stuff, make this big lavish announcements, have these giant weddings and parties, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna get divorced. Like,
I think the wrath for Jennifer Lopez and Ben wouldn't have been so bad had they just kind of dated and maybe been common law living. Like, just don't jump to the altar. That's where
but I think why it became a topic of a lot of people's conversations because she used it as a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Because remember, you haven't heard any music or any movies come out of her for a long time. And then when this all got back together, I only heard about it because Rose was like up my ass every day of like, J-Lo's doing this, J-Lo's doing that. She has a show coming out. She has a tour coming out. She has this. She has a robot coming out. All these things.
Hang on. And I also want to say the reason I think I celebrated her is because she's 55 years old. That's pretty impressive for a woman to be doing all this at that age. Like, she's probably going through menopause right now. Let's be real. Like, she is not 29. So
but she's also
she was building like the, you can see it was a momentum of a campaign. Like, do you know when people, president comes out or something's election time, you can see 3 months before there's a cycle of momentum. So she was building that all based off like it was very short term.
Right. So she obviously was using this marriage, capitalizing on it. Yeah.
Because when you start saying, oh, her shows aren't selling out, and you're like,
no, and then I started figuring out when she had the alcohol line, I was like, you're married to an alcoholic. Why would you come out with an alcohol line? Like, that seems really not cool at all if that's your partner.
I just think as J-Lo's gotten, like older, for me, I just don't find her relatable anymore. The stuff that she talked about, there's no 55-year-old woman that can do the stuff that she does because either you're on hormone replacement therapy or you're not, or you've got a great terrier. You've got something, right? So hats off. I'm not jealous of her at all because I think she's stunning. But what I just think is that she just shows off way too much. And that's the entire industry of Hollywood, is a flash and the showing off. And you know what? And I said this to you before, Rose, when she did the movie. I love her, and I still do. And I hope she gets it right.
Yeah.
And, but when she did the whole movie, and I'm like, you mean she's acting, singing, and everything in there, kind of like, her triple threat that she is.
Yeah.
But that's narcissistic kind of stuff. That's like narcissistic behavior. And I'm like, why are you showing off so much? And I just said that. Jane Fonda said the same thing to her, like, kind of protect your love.
Yeah.
When you have something to that level, I'll tell you right now, you got more haters than motivators. So she should have saw that coming. You're going to get more hate and more negative energy coming to you. And I just thought, like, stop showing off. We know that you're stunningly beautiful and all this amazingness,
Talented,
but just kind of, you don't always have to dominate social media. Like every time she'd be somewhere, the paparazzi would be with her 24/7 So that's
I think what I would love
more.
I think what I love from her would have been if she brought out other young stars and help them.
I think
take a 21-year-old girl who can't in the system. Get her in, help her have cruelty-free artistry, like Jaguar Wright says. Bring these young kids that are trying to get in the game and help them. Like that's what your job is. To me, when I see a 50-year-old woman, your job is to help the younger generation. Same with a 40-year-old, help a 30-year-old.
Especially given you're at that experience level, your age, where it's like, hey, it's like sometimes in Bollywood, like time to let go a little bit of the reins, let someone else come and get some of the light coming in, because you have a bright light around you. Shine some of it on them without having to like sacrifice a lot of things about their life to get this limelight.
Right?
Okay, so that's our take on Jennifer Lopez and Ben. Let's get to the Menendez brothers high-profile case that the Menendez brothers documentary Netflix shed light into their case. We made some bold predictions. I said that I think they're going to get out. Alice said the same thing. You kind of were on the fence and said no.
Yeah, I live in the U.S. and I feel like I have a better understanding of the judicial system there, so I don't know if they will get out. I hope they get out. Like I want them to get out. I know someone sent some comments to us when I made the clips previously, sent us some DMs of like, do you know what they've done? Yes, I'm very much aware of what they've done. I also think 30 years is enough time that they've served. And now that we're, like Alvin said, we've learned more information. You make better decisions when you have more information. So I stand by it. I do hope they get out. I just don't know if I'm that optimistic about it.
We have to be a compassionate society,
100%.
right? We have people get is that the right term to say? People we should allow people to reform themselves, and be better themselves, and they deserve a chance, and society shouldn't be so hard at coming at people, and saying that no, you should die and you should do that. At the end of the day, their judgment is with God. None of us have anything to say about that. We don't know the relationship. We don't know how things went down. We're a society that's so quick to judging on everybody now, because social media has given us that platform to, quickly, I'm going to DM, give my opinion, hate here, like this and all that, and then share the hate. And then it just goes on and on and on. At the end of the day, nobody wants to spend that way their life rotting in jail. I think if they are reformed, they do deserve a chance. So that's all I'm going to say to that. Al, anything else to add to that?
No.
Okay. And final thing that was so monumental was that for the first time in history, we were so close to almost having the first female president-elect for the United States of America. It didn't happen. U.S. is not that forward-thinking, like whereas England had Margaret Thatcher.
New Zealand.
Right? New Zealand. So what do you think went wrong? We're not going to get too much into the political side, Rose, but I think there's some change coming.
I think there's some change coming. I don't think that we had enough time to really get to know her. 3 months to campaign just wasn't enough time.
If you really think about it, we used to ask questions. We never see Kamala Harris. We never heard her for 2-3 years. I don't know what was happening there. Biden was keeping her at bay, but it was you never heard about her. And then all of a sudden, boom, everywhere. And you're like, that switch turned on. Obviously, only once he decided that he can no longer continue. So I just think she wasn't given a fair chance. If you gave her a year to campaign, you might have had a different outcome. But then again, because she's a black woman minority and she's a female, you got two things going against you. If it was a female white president-elect, then maybe she would have had a fighting chance, but not enough time to.
No, and I think this president election taught us a lot about the importance of podcasts. CNN, Fox News, nobody's interested. MSNBC, nobody's interested in legacy media anymore because you get a 90-second glimpse of a person. I think, Donald Trump going on Joe Rogan podcast was huge for him. That really shifted. And then having Elon Musk support him, that was a huge shift for him, right? Yeah, exactly. So I think this was a very important president-elect that we learned so much of what people want today.
Yeah.
They don't want to be lied to anymore. They want honesty and transparency, and they want to see what you're going to do for us.
Yeah.
And I think that the assassination attempt on him, whether it was planned or not, whatever happened, but when you saw that picture, which I saw of him going down but coming back up and giving his hand up like a hero, like a martyr, even me, I was like, man, I was like, this guy's got me. I was like, he already got me.
And
especially with the
I
flag
like
right
him as
behind.
my Hollywood president, as my Hollywood president.
Yeah.
Not the real one, but who knows? This time around, he seems to be picking a very diverse set of people that have a really great skill set, to actually see them in a position that they are in. I'm like, this might be kind of interesting to see.
And I'm not going to lie, I do believe everyone deserves a second chance. Do I like everything that Trump says? No, absolutely not. Because some of the stuff he says, like,
He's a
it's like a
comedian.
5-year-old kid will say, right? But I did follow him on Celebrity Apprentice. I liked him. And honestly, there's something that I thought, there are two quick things that I'm going to talk about that kind of made him relatable. When he went on Joe Rogan and he started talking about those beluga whales, and he actually wants to study whales and stuff, there was a personal side to him. I'm like, what? Like, this guy's talking about that. And I really liked when his granddaughter came and on the stage and said some stuff like, Grandpa, I know they're beating you up and they're saying some things, but our one-on-one times when we go golfing, she humanized him. She made him like, this is my grandfather. And even, I'm not going to lie, I was like, you know what, for her, I think her name was Kaya, and she came to say some stuff about her grandfather, but that really resonated with me. And I love Kamala because she's South Asian and visible minority. But at the end of the day, the color of your skin matters. I have said this so many times. It will. We're not globally, and America is not at a place where like we're all going to be kumbaya holding hands because the United Colors of Benetton are jiving together. It's just not going to happen. So that's my take on that. But what a year it was. It was a year of whirlwind. That's just really our recap in a nutshell. Comment in our comments and let me know what you think. But we just wanted to make it really quick and just highlight what happened this year. A lot of stuff happened.
And I want to add to that, like, because I think this election brought out a lot of hate on both sides. Like, people were saying a lot of mean things on both sides. And that's not healthy debating to me. A healthy debate is where you come and you talk about, you know, what policies you want, what you see the world is how you see the world. And then when you stop and say, okay, I can see how that person sees the world because they were born and raised in this city, in this time, you can have better perspective of that person. So I know a lot of friends of mine were like, oh no, I'm just never going to talk to someone who voted for them. I'm like, that's not the way we should be operating. Whether you voted for the blue pill or the fact is that you voted for somebody in the hopes that there's going to be changes and a better country to live in. But we have to start understanding where people come from and having, like Angie said, more compassion of who these people are and giving each other opportunities to grow and be better. Stop trying to size people down and stop trying to like attack one another. I really, really despise the level of attacking that I saw on this presidential election. It was gross to witness, to be honest.
Yeah, and I agree. I think at the end of the day, it's okay if we agree to disagree.
Yes.
It's healthy. We don't always have to get along on everything. And sometimes even with my thinking, sometimes my thinking is so liberal on certain things. But yet I'm so forward thinking that I think like a Democrat. And then when I think about something else, I think like a Republican sometimes. And I'm like, I have all facets of different personality. Does that make me a bad person? No. But we're all going to have that, right? Our views and perspectives sometimes will be so left wing and so right wing, but it's okay. The point is dialogue is the most important thing. When we talk, we can talk it out with anything and through positivity and that's
kindness.
And that's what world leaders get together is everybody put your freaking ego aside, come together for the greater good of humanity. That is the essence of true leadership. True leadership is when you put the people above yourself. And I want to see more leaders doing that in the world. So that's my take on that.
Perfect.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap
for 2024. And the biggest thing, the most important thing that happened this year is that your fellow favorite trio of siblings hit the 100,000 subscribers.
We going all the way up.
That was the most important thing for 2024. In case you missed our episode, go and make sure you check it out. But we just want to thank you so much for your support because yes, a tribe called Dhillon podcast reached the 100,000 subscriber mark on YouTube, and we just want to say thank you. So we're signing off now because we're super excited. Make sure you check us out on all of our social channels, especially all of our Christmas stuff. We have some really, 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 really great stuff coming up for 2025. So friends and family, take care. Have a wonderful year, and we can't wait for 2025. And we're sending you love and light. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.